Hello, I'm MonteCristo. Welcome once again to a lovely interview with Jack and someone else at the Cloud9 HQ. This time it's Licorice and not Gary, but we still have very important things to talk about. And I know that since you are in fact a medical doctor, Licorice, you are definitely the person who is most qualified to talk about what's going on with the coronavirus. You ready?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, good.
Glad you are.
So, jokes aside, this is like a very serious thing, and we've seen a lot of cancellations around esports. But most particularly, surprisingly, I would say that we saw the LEC right before their games were about to start on Friday morning, our time, Friday evening over in Germany, get canceled. And then LCS, similarly, like that night here in California, those games were decided to be postponed as well. So tell us about that process for you guys. Was it a surprise?
Not really. I mean, this is like a situation like this, like a pandemic, like you really need to be very flexible, like every moment for what it's going to be thrown at you. And there's going to be curveballs all the time. And understand, just watching what was going on in Italy and as it spread across Europe, I knew they were going to have to do something to make sure that people were safe and it wasn't being further spread. And so I wasn't surprised it was. I guess I would say I was surprised it was canceled. I thought maybe an online only type of experience would be coming first before they went straight to the cancellation. But like when you think about the severity of the situation, it's not too they're trying to do the best to make sure that people are safe. So it's not too surprising.
How about for you? Is this something that you were prepared for? Jack's not surprised, so I assume you had some level of awareness.
I mean, for me, it wasn't something I was tracking super closely because I was just trying to make sure I was prepared for my matches for the weekend. Like really, it was just like business as usual. We scrimmed at the same time. We practiced at the same time. So yeah, I think at first I was a bit disappointed that like we're not going to get to play like first our match, and then second I really enjoy playing on stage as well. But I think that it's like for very, very good reasons. So in the long run, I think it's a good thing.
Coming up, it seems like, based on the announcement, there's probably a way that the matches will continue in a week or two once people are able to sort of play together from home. What's the kind of thought process around that now? Are you comfortable with that situation, Jack?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we have a really good infrastructure in place right now for doing scrims. We play on a server that's located here in LA for scrims 4+ days a week. The quality of the experience is actually quite good. And I feel like the only thing that Riot really needs to do is make sure they have an observer so they can actually cast against it, and maybe have some sort of oversight, maybe a ref in the room, maybe have web cameras watching the players. But if you have those two things, I think you have a situation where the gameplay you have good competitive integrity. And I feel like the experience for the viewer will still be really good, and the experience for the players will be competitive. So I think that we have solutions in place that we can move to continue the season on.
And for people who don't know, the ping is much lower on your scrim server, right? Licorice, like compared to the one in Chicago.
Yeah, when you play on the Scrim server, you either have somewhere between like usually 12 to 8 ping, and it kind of varies based on like how good your connection is at the time. And then on stage you have 7, so it's like very comparable ping-wise.
That makes it quite easy then.
Yeah.
How has this affected kind of player mentality from your perspective, this split? Has anything really changed?
I mean, it changed, but it also at the same time, I think that like the mental side of it hasn't changed at all. It's like whenever our next match is, we have to be prepared for it. And then after we play this week or maybe next week, then we're going into finals. So it's still like prep for finals and just try to keep our edge that we have on the other teams right now. And I think that's what everyone's focused on.
And has Gary been involved in this? We talked to him about the mental side of things in the last interview. Has he been involved in kind of coaching the players through this situation?
To be frank, like for the staff, everything we do is to try to make sure the players don't need to actually focus on what's going on externally outside of the league and with our players. So I think like almost all of our practice really isn't focused on coronavirus and the community impact. Is really how do we get better every single day, and doing that in a safe way. So a lot of the efforts of the staff is external to the team itself, trying to make sure like we don't have guests coming over, we don't have like people that like don't live here at the house coming in that could possibly bring in coronavirus. So a lot of that stuff, the players aren't really involved. So, and I think that allows them to totally focus on getting better every day.
And I can say this because obviously I knew weeks ago, but a couple weeks ago, more than 2 weeks ago, I believe, you sent out an email saying no Cloud9 staff that are not essential to the teams, besides content, can really be in the Cloud9 facilities right now. You encouraged and mandated, in fact, that everybody stay at home. What was your thought process behind that? Because it was a lot earlier than most other places were doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I was really paying attention to what was going on in Italy and in Korea, and I was watching like how exponentially it was growing and spreading, and so when I saw like how contagious this corona is, I wanted to make sure that we had some photo shoots where people were going to be coming in from New York and from Washington. These are two hot spots in the United States. I'm like, that's not a good thing. We also had staff that was traveling international for other events, and I realized like, hey, with an international company like Cloud9, we got people coming in and out of our houses, in and out of our offices all the time, all over the world. And I started thinking, hey, this is a great way to take down Cloud9, and we're having a phenomenal year. I don't want our players getting sick and our staff getting sick to take us down early. So out of an abundance of caution, I'm like, hey, look, everyone work at home. And from where the players live, no one but like coaches, managers, and like essential content people should be coming in. Let's really try to make sure that we're doing everything we can to make sure we have a healthy environment. We also, like in some of our team meetings, we kind of booby trapped the meeting with hand washing videos, and made sure everyone learned how to get your thumbs, do this. Well. And like we really got into hand washing. We have hand sanitizer everywhere. There's been already a lot of jokes about when our players are like getting on or off stage, they see like our management like spraying them down with hand sanitizer. So we're doing everything like we can to try to make it as safe as possible for our employees.
What is the possibility of this going on for the next couple of months? You can't answer that question, obviously, but if it does, what do you think the future of the LCS and LEC is going to be if this doesn't go away quickly, if this drags out for the whole year?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously I can't answer that question. You can already see like in like places like with really good controls like South Korea that there are less people that are actually catching it than are recovering. So that's a really good sign that that they're coming on the negative end of the slope and they're getting healthier. The reality is we're just ramping up now, and how long it's going to take often is dependent on how well the country is testing and really cracking down on making sure people are taking care of each other. And unfortunately, we're not in the best spot here in North America at this point with testing. So it might take several months for us to get this figured out.
It does seem like people are taking precautions, though. I just drove over here at rush hour in Los Angeles, and granted, it's a Saturday, but there's like nobody out there right now.
I mean,
it's
completely
rare
in LA. So
it's crazy.
So that's really good to hear. But I mean, I think what's really special about our sport is that we really can like play in our pajamas from our bed, from our house, and not go outside and have really competitive matches. So I think this is an opportunity for us to like embrace like our a core part of what we're about is this online game, and that we can have really highly competitive, high quality matches without being in an arena. There's a lot of people at home not going out that are looking for entertainment.
Yep.
So this is a great
Especially
chance
since
for
all
us.
sports are canceled.
Yeah, this is a great chance for us to support our fans who are stuck at home, support new fans who are looking for something to do. So like it's trying to make lemonade out of lemons basically, and so I hope that we can stay on focus and still produce something good for people to watch.
Licorice, does it affect you to be playing remotely versus on stage? Is there something different about the energy, or you think it's sort of the same thing?
For me, I'd say the energy is a bit different because I think that like when you play on stage, I mean, it's just like, it's like human biology, basically. It's like built in. Like I was kind of joking with Blabber the other day that if we're playing our games on stage from our scrim room, he's gonna be a little bit of trouble because he's a little bit of a scrimenter.
I can see it.
And I think that you might actually see that if we go into like the online play where you'll see teams that are like supposedly better in scrims might actually perform better, and the teams that are like scrim enters might actually have some problems playing the online games.
I mean, I believe that just because without the sort of ritual of coming on stage and getting yourself psychologically prepared and kind of setting you into a different mental mode, I think it could be a little challenging.
Yeah, I think it's going to be quite hard. I mean, for myself, I'm going to try to copy like almost everything that I can from what I do on match days and just try to bring it to our scrim room and see how that goes. But that's really where my focus is going to be at when we play.
Yeah, understandable. I think unfortunately we have to bring up a topic which is particularly shitty for Cloud9 to talk about, which is like you guys are in the middle of this really strong run in LCS. And we've already seen, unfortunately, MSI get pushed back to sometime in the summer. And obviously, because we don't know what's going to happen with your performance in the future, we might be facing a situation where we're just never going to know how good you guys are on an international stage, or there's so many asterisks like, oh, LCK was canceled or LPL was delayed, even though it's being played online right now. How does that feel when it comes to like evaluating your own performance this season? Because I imagine that's a real shot in the gut right now.
For myself, I think, I mean, it's like hard if you think about it that way, but I think the way that I want to think about it is more like whatever my next match is going to be, like I always want to be prepared. And if that's spring finals and then that's like week 1 of summer that's starting right away, then I want to be just as prepared for that as I'm going to be for like MSI in the middle of summer or going to Worlds. And like I'm just going to do the best I can and practice the best I can. And yeah, I mean, if the break goes long, obviously it's going to be like more work to keep motivation up, but that's just the work we're going to need to be doing and that we're all going to try to be really focused for whenever we start playing competitively again.
Do you have any thoughts about the legacy from Cloud9's 2020 epic LCS run?
So the really cool thing is that what we've learned this year is going to apply like 3 weeks from now. It's going to apply 10 weeks from now. It'll apply next season. Like we've really learned a lot that on how to keep our level of performance higher than it's been in the past. So I do feel confident that whenever we do actually start up again, that we're still going to be very strong. So I'm not, so I don't have that fear. I still want us to, finish this split. If that happens, it'll be a bummer, but like, I don't want to focus on that because I think like the most exciting thing out of this whole year and this season was like learning like how to perform better as a team and perform better every day and take that learning. It's gonna stick with us a lot longer than one split.
Yeah, it goes back to when we did the interview, which you should check out if you haven't yet, with Jack and me and Gary talking about how you guys are building out this new culture within the team. And that's the primary goal right now when it comes to not only League of Legends, but all of Cloud9's divisions. I mean, from my perspective, it really does seem like this split is totally salvageable because I can't imagine it would take a long time to kind of do, rejigger the broadcast to do, bring in the remote games. Like League is already kind of built for this. So just a matter of figuring out a few logistics. So, and also I think objectively it's pretty easy just to say, well, if we have to run LCS 4 days a week to finish the remaining matches, yeah, it's not ideal. You'd have a lot more condensed time frame to scrim and prepare for opponents, but it is at least feasible to sort of finish on the same time scale that we're currently.
Yeah, I instead of playing like 2 games a week, we could easily play 4 and move into playoffs really quickly. Yeah. So we definitely could have a more condensed version to catch up.
Well, I think it's also advantageous for you guys because you're already locked for playoffs, which means that you're less concerned about dropping a few games to random opponents because you don't have time to prepare, because by the time playoffs roll around, you'll have a long time to prepare for one opponent again. So it's actually, you already won the prize in a lot of ways by performing early. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Does that make it easier for you, Licorice?
Yeah, I think it's really nice to be going into the last matches, like even if it wasn't for all the coronavirus concerns and all that, I think it's really nice to be able to go into it and be like, what can we get out of these matches? And it's not like, oh, we have to win versus this team because they're like the weaker team that we're playing and like this secures us our playoff spot. And it's just like, no, like we're just gonna like play what we want to play and we're gonna practice what we want to practice and we can do it on stage. Yeah. And I think that's great.
Yeah, the guys like even before, I was thinking, hey, we should just make sure everyone's like committed to this. And I was mentioning it to Reaper. He's like, oh yeah, we already did that. We couple of days ago, we already had this talk that everyone is committed to stay on point, stay focused, and there was no question, that these guys are, if it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 5 weeks, it doesn't matter. We're going to be working hard.
Excellent. Well, I think at least from a competitive perspective, this thing, at least for the localized regions by like LEC, LCS, now that LPL's moved online, I assume LCK is going to work on the same thing. Yeah. Surely everyone will be able to take what LPL learned from doing this and apply it more quickly, I would say, to other regions, right? So I don't really have a concern about finishing the domestic competition. Like the big question is whether the international competition is still going to happen with all of these, who knows what the future holds in terms of travel bans, but that's a really sort of key question in general for esports.
Yeah, that definitely does. Yeah, and the where aspect will be something we need to figure out.
So I know you can't answer this, but beyond League of Legends, let's talk about the rest of C9's many divisions like CSGO, which is currently here in LA practicing for Flashpoint, so not really a problem there. Yeah. But how's this affecting C9's other teams?
We have our London Spitfire, so obviously we rented out the Wembley Arena March 28th. That event's not going to happen.
Hope you got event insurance.
No.
Oh shit.
So I learned something new today, and so
that's a cool venue too.
Yeah,
I love doing
It's a
Worlds
wonderful
there.
venue. I'm sure we're going to figure out something, postpone it at some later date. It was just really disappointing. We've been preparing for this event for a long time to have a homestand, and we had to cancel that. Quickly, Overwatch League figured out basically a system of online matches that we're going to be doing. So I think it's going to be fine. That's why I'm confident that the LCS will also figure out an online method, because this is, it's kind of like going back to our roots. Like,
yes,
both of us were involved with tournaments.
I ran online tournaments for years. Like,
I mean, when I did the Sullivan series with Dan Din, like Dan Din with a black sheet behind him, running an event with over 100,000 viewers, and and players playing from all over like the United States, and it worked great.
It wasn't ideal, obviously.
It wasn't ideal, but it did
function. It
did well, and we are so much further along than then, and we can produce a really good event online. So it has impacts. Like mainly it's like the things that we think about we didn't have to before was constantly making sure that our players are safe, and constantly making sure you kind of arm's width from arm's distance from anybody. You're washing your hands really well. You're just not going into group situations. You're constantly thinking about like the safety of your players and your employees all the time in a way that you never had to think about in the past. And that's like the main difference.
Yeah, so it sounds like you've resolved a lot of the other issues. Are there any unique problems you've encountered because of this in some of the other games? Like, obviously, it's especially bad for Owl.
I would say like the most unique issues that I've had is I have my Dota team here. I just hired these guys, and as it takes time for insurance to get activated, and because of what's going on with coronavirus, like we went to go get like travel insurance. Well, all the insurance companies have now made that COVID is not something that it actually works for your insurance, so they don't cover it. And so we couldn't get proper travel insurance. Our company insurance was going to be coming online fast enough. So we had hoped to boot camp with our Dota team here in LA for a while, and we ended up just like pulling the plug on that. They all flew home today. And so that was, I'd say that's like the most interesting like issue that we've had lately, is that like blocks on getting insurance set up, and we need to send all our players home where we knew they had like health insurance readily available. And that was like the most interesting issue I've had like this week.
Yeah, makes sense. Unfortunate. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thanks for joining me in this conversation. I know it's probably by the time we get this out, the situation will have changed again because of how fast-moving and unpredictable it is, but I think fans will appreciate everything that's going on, a little more insight into how things are running here at C9. So thank you.
Yeah, stay healthy.